Hi there, this short video is just going to go through some of the elements that are left on your Brief 3 writing collection of work. And because we have no class on the 14th of January, I said I'll do a really short recording and cover some of the points. I know some of you are trying to play catch up because of the break over Christmas, so I'm not going to go through everything that's on this, but just a few short things that you could be working and adding on to your list. So we finished off with the report. The form is going to be an actual form you're going to handwrite in class. It's the driver's application form. So I will have that in class for you to complete next week, even though I know we're doing presentations as well. There is another video on presentations just for anybody who wasn't able to come to class this week. What I want to bring your attention to is number 5, the memo. And we've covered memos already in the other modules. And when you go into Moodle, which I'll show you in a second, I have a memo template up there, which is what you're going to use for this. And all along what you have been doing is you are creating a memo and you are typing information that you were given. Because this is a written component in your communications module, you are expected to write this out in your words. So you're requested to create a memo using whatever date that it is that you're doing it. You work for Office Services Limited and your job title is Office Manager. The memo is from you and is addressed to all office staff. A copy is to be addressed to me, and the subject of the memo is bonus. In your own words, you are to inform staff that they will each receive a bonus of €200 this month for their hard work. Now, with a memo, there's no dear, there's no salutation, and there is no complimentary close. It's straight to the point. You can have it nice, clear and concise. And I suppose if I were doing it to staff and showing, telling that they're getting a bonus, I would also kind of address that it's in recognition of their hard work. And you could also maybe say something along the lines, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for all your hard work and dedication over the year or over the last couple of months, whatever way you want to put it. And as a token of our appreciation, we are delighted to announce that you'll be receiving a bonus of €200 in recognition of this. Something along those lines. So it's obviously a little bit more formal. And you might actually only have maybe 2 sentences, 3 sentences max, and that's all you need to do. You can send me a draft to have a look through just to make sure that it is okay. But what we will do maybe when we go into class next week is I might get you just to have a look at each other's and you can give some peer feedback as well. But it's really, really short. So that's the memo covered. And I just want to show you where in Moodle you'll find it. So I've opened up Moodle, and because it's part of the writing section in the learning material, you will see in the writing, I actually have minutes layout, minutes template, and I'm actually going to add a section on the memo in here. So it's not up here at the moment, but I will have it up straight after this recording. But where you'll also find the material that you'll need is in Brief 3 writing. I actually have the memo template in there also. So it's up to you wherever the 2 places that you want to find it. And I have a minutes template also in there. So what I'm going to show you next is the minutes, and the extra information that you need to do with the minutes is in here, which is the minutes layout. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to open this up. And this is your minutes layout. And what a minutes are, it's a recording of a meeting that's after taking place. Generally, when you have a meeting in an organization, in a business context, you have what we call an agenda. And what the agenda is, it's the order of events that are going to happen. So it could be a meeting, it could be a training event that you're going to. And what they do is they break down on the agenda. So for example, if you're going to a conference, there could be a registration. So it might have from 9 to 9:15 registration. And then 9:15, there could be an address from the CEO of the company or whatever keynote speaker that they actually have. So you have a kind of an idea as to what's happening, even down to maybe the coffee break as well, particularly for training events. But for business meetings, it just means that when people are going to this meeting, they have an idea, they know what time that it's starting, and they know the order of events and what topics are going to be covered. So this I have here is an example of one that's actually been created. And actually what you're going to be doing is very, very similar. So this is very similar to the type of one that you're going to have to type up. I have a blank template up there, and all you'll do, and I'll show you in brief 3 where you're going to get the information. So in other words, where am I going to get the information to type into this template for the minutes? But just to go through basically the layout of it first and an example. So you put the date that the meeting was held, the time, maybe the location, the boardroom, or it could be a hotel, who was in attendance, all right, and who wasn't. So what will happen is that the secretary during the meeting will take notes. And if there is any outcome and people have stuff to do that was discussed during the meeting, they'll write all of this down. So it's a summary. So it's very handy if you've been at the meeting because you haven't been able to take notes. You've just been listening and participating. But the person who's doing the minutes up is the person who is just recording everything and will put it all nicely together. And what they will do then is they'll send the minutes of the meeting to all the people who were in attendance and even the people who were unable to make it. So this is just the agenda topic. So it goes in the order that the agenda was set, the update and the action. So who is going to have to do what as a result of this meeting, and an update on it. So they talked about the introduction and the minutes of the last meeting. So what they do is they talked about, okay, what has been done since we had the last meeting. Then they're talking about the DCU safety statement. So that's the agenda. And then they go through what's the update on that and what's the action. So somebody has to do something about, or everybody has to do something about the safety statement. And what AOB stands for is, and you generally have this as well at the end of the meeting, is any other business. So sometimes people will come to a meeting and they want to discuss something that's not on the agenda. So they allow this bit of free time at the end, and there wasn't any in this particular one, so there's none. So I'm just returning to brief 3 writing and bringing all of this into place as to, okay, so what does this mean for me in terms of what I need to do for my collection of work and the minutes of a meeting? So you have taken notes from a recent meeting and have been asked to create the minutes from these notes. Your tutor will instruct you on the layout. So I've just kind of briefly gone through the layout and I'll show you where the template is. The notes for this meeting are located in the minutes handout at the end of this brief. So if it's just one mark, and take note of the marks as well of the stuff that you're doing here. So you know, they're kind of short exercises, and that's why the marks aren't very big for them. So if you scroll down and you go to the end of the brief, you will see there that there is an extract, and it's to do with your minutes of the meeting. And it's a health and safety meeting, okay? And it tells you when the meeting took place, where it took place, who was present and who wasn't present. So remember, in that template or the example that I showed you, all that information had headings at the top. So when you go into the template, you just copy this information and put it in there. Then the agenda items. So when you're doing it, I'm just going to switch over to the example for you. So just have a look at these, your agenda items, introduction and minutes of last meeting, safety statement and AOB. So where these 3 headings are going to go in your template are where you saw them in the example. So this is where the first agenda topic goes, the second one, and the third one. So the next thing you have to do is you have to read the information and decide, okay, where does this go in terms of update or action? So the introduction and minutes of the last meeting will be your first row on your table. And what you'll do with the update would be, the meeting was opened by Colette. So you're really copying a lot of this information and just typing it into the right box in the minutes of your meeting. So for my update, I might write something like, Colette Walsh opened the meeting discussing the last meeting. She advised that the safety report is almost complete, and the action is Colette will issue a draft of the safety report to everyone when it's completed. Okay. The next topic then, so when you're going back to your table, in the example that you were given, they weren't talking about just the safe, they had the DCU safety statement. So for yours, you're just going to write down safety statement. And inside here, then you'll give your update. So it's something along the lines of the information that's given to you. You can kind of summarize it. And this paragraph gives you information. So this gives you the update. So the draft of the safety meeting was distributed. Once reviewed, the final draft should be ready by the next meeting. And then over in the action, you'd put something along the lines that everyone is to review the draft safety statement. And the third and final row is the AOB. And like the example, there is actually none. Where you'll find the template, the blank template, is in the learning material in the writing folder. And you have the minutes layout, which is an example of a completed one. And the minutes template is the blank one that you have to go in and fill out using that information that has been given to you at the end of the brief. Again, if you could have it done by next week, we can just have a look and we can compare with each other to make sure that you're all on the right track. So that way, for the minutes and the memo, you don't have to send to me actually. What we'll do is we'll review them in class next week, and that way then you know that you have everything done correctly. And the final part that I want to show you in relation to this brief is the first part of number 7. So as part of communication, they want you, so you've written in different contexts. So you've written a memo, you've done the minutes, you've done some reporting, you've done creative writing, but we also write electronically. So we do this a lot now. So we write emails an awful lot. And what they want you to do, so we're just going to focus on the first one. We're going to do the other two in class, but for the first one, I felt this is nice and easy for you to do. And you're requested to complete an informal, so it's a friendly email of at least 50 words to me, inviting me to a party, okay? That's to take place, so a fictitious party this Saturday. And send the email, and a copy is to be included in your file. Now, you're doing it through Moodle, so what I will do is we'll just basically just take a picture of it on the phone, or I might just save it as a PDF for you, and that way then it'll be much easier for you to upload. So you'll find when you're uploading stuff onto Moodle for Brief 3, you might have many files and lots of different ones. So, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be all in the one go. It's 1 mark for this. What you have to remember though is it has to be 50 words. Okay. Be mindful of that, because you could lose part of the mark if you haven't it done correctly. If you're unsure about the wording of it, again, what we'll do is in class next week, your colleague or the person next to you that I'll buddy you up with, you can have a look and compare and check to see. So it's a bit of peer learning that'll take place. If you want to add more to it, be fictitious about it, you might say it's a barbecue, you might ask me to bring some drinks. So this is all made up, but the key thing is you have to have 50 words and you do it informally. And what it means is when you're greeting me on the email, you could say, "Hi, Yvonne." You wouldn't say "yours sincerely" or "yours faithfully" at the end of it. You might say, "Looking forward to seeing you," or "hope you can make it." Another way to make up your words is you might say, "It's going to be outside, the weather is supposed to be good, it'll be all safe in relation to COVID." So you can go at any angle that you want. So if you're very happy with your grammar and everything, you can just send it away to me. If you're a bit kind of apprehensive, you can wait until next week and we'll check it inside in the classroom. The other two we'll do in the classroom, because this is to do that cover letter, which I know you're still waiting for. And I'm going to get on top of that probably today or tomorrow, and I'll send you on what I have in terms of Janice's previous workshop. Okay, so it would be great if you could do these pieces. I know you're probably saying, "Gosh, I have a lot to do," but because we have no class on Friday, you have that little bit of a window, and they're really small pieces. It only is 3 marks, so you don't have to invest loads and loads of time. And if you have any queries, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you, and have a nice weekend, and I'll see you all next week.